Anti-Afro Svengalis. It's time for reinforcements. What are reinforcements? Reinforcements is when you make sure your lines are drawn, your boundaries are set. You make it clear because there comes a time when you may be asked, did you set the boundary? Did you make it clear? Did you issue that warning before you take other steps? So I'm taking the time to do. I want to do this first. I want to say something about Remix, and then I'm going to say something about Gerald. This is the most important thing I want to say about Remix. There is no way in hell that a crack addict would have beat on Remix as a child and outlived his daddy. That would never have happened. He put money on the table and try to make me say it just to say it. I wouldn't say it. That crackhead would never have outlived Remix's dad. I say the same thing about Gerald, although it would be a different approach. The crackhead would have been dealt with the legal system. It would have been addressed. In Gerald, in all likelihood, no, I would say assuredly would have gone on to forgive the person. And another thing I can tell you wouldn't have happened with either Remix or Gerald as a child. Their family would not have forced them to go and visit the crackhead that was beating them in prison. Why am I saying this? We have this drunken monkey who got up here and cried and whined about being beaten down by a crackhead as a kid and wants to come up here and speak on people and their families. You can't blame the child because they're at the disposal of their parent, but you tolerate it as an adult because you remain connected to the crackhead and your daddy didn't do anything about it. And your daddy left the earth and the crackhead is still here. How much you want to bet he gives his daughter access to that crackhead? You're giving your daughter access to a crackhead who beat the shit out of you as a kid. You can't talk about anybody and their family. It's just so telling how quick this drunken monkey is to try to rail on people. You're railing on yourself. You got no room to talk. Let me continue on with the main topic. It happens every year. It's happened over the last 4 years. We have this drunken monkey stalker. We have other stalkers, but this drunken monkey in particular is relentless when it comes to the stalk. I wanted to make sure we had the timeline down, the dates down, as far as what happened when. 2021, end of the year. Focus on the end of the year, folks, because this is when these attacks ratchet up. This was on the heels of the Beats controversy. So come December 2021, after the drunken monkey swore up and down, oh, I'm done with AAS and Rev G and I'm out of here, told all kinds of lies about kicking us off his platform, whatever. The lies continue. You have to make it appear that somebody has burned me at the stake. No one has burned me at the stake. When someone is being disrespectful to me and they cross lines, I leave. I don't wait for them to, quote, kick me off. I'm done. And let me give this one exception about this one extortionist who tried to force me into that extortion game. I decided I was never going to play that game. I bowed out. I would never, ever engage in any such bullshit, although there was an expectation that I go along with that crap. I made the decision to never, ever participate in any such bullshit. And then this extortionist was whining and crying about it. That's because they expected me to do it. Like I'm some weakling. I am no weakling when it comes to anybody thinking they can do whatever they want and say whatever I want. And I'm going to run back and just be, oh, please love me, take me under your wing, make me feel I'm important while you treat me like shit. I'm no Carrie Ann. I'm none of the 98.6% of those females in that Umar Johnson sector. This is how they operate. This is how they move. They allow these dudes to treat them like just landfill trash. But this is the fantasy that these subjects have. They want me to put myself in a situation like that. It will never happen. But at any rate, we're talking how this drunken monkey has this fantasy that this is what happened to me, AAS. So he speaks it into his contorted existence. So in December 2021, after the Beats situation had occurred, this drunken monkey had been crying and screaming about us. And then finally, after we had made comments about this is ridiculous, you claim you booted us, he lied about booting us and wouldn't stop talking about us. Then he said, okay, I'm moving on. We don't need them over here. We moved, our people are this, our people are that. And guess what we received? Complete and total surprise. We received his live streams, the Drunken Monkey's live streams, where he was charging $5 a pop for the slave plantation residents to listen to him tell all kinds of bullshit lies about me and Reb G and give us whatever opinion, negative opinion about us. Had people up on this platform we haven't even heard of. Never had conversation with many of those subjects. And there were many people who were freaking offended by what he did, and they sent us his live streams. He was screaming and hollering, and I was going, they don't give any shits about this dude with a bullet in his head, ranting and raving, drunk, don't give a damn if he has any kind of stroke, and just egging him on and egging him on. And he was just railing about he couldn't understand why anybody is still rocking with me, AAS. Well, let me tell you something. Let me say something. I just laughed because, believe it or not, most of my life, and I'm being sarcastic, of course, has been spent off YouTube. Never ever in life have I ever struggled or had to fight for or beg for support, for me to have someone that I could go to, for love, for nurturing, for anything that I needed. I never had to beg for it. Plenty of people, friends, family, colleagues. That is how I was brought up. So I'm thinking to myself, what an arrogant, drunk ass idiot to think he can come here on YouTube and model and set a course for my life where I would have no support. He's going to upend my entire existence by saying, I can't believe people support her. People have always supported me. And there would be nothing that any enemy, any idiot on YouTube who has the worst interest or the worst intentions for me would ever be able to change. It would never eradicate any access to real, authentic, true friendship, true support, true love, access to whatever I needed. And that's reciprocal. It's not just me getting benefits. Benefits are reciprocal in terms of what you do for people. But this arrogant, drunk ass idiot thinks he can upend not just my life and change my life, Rev G's, or anybody who supports us. Well, the people that I rock with, we're pretty much the same in terms of our life offline. Like, they don't come online and tell all their business. They don't have any problem getting support. Never have. So those who obviously, based on what's coming out of their mouths, They're the ones who have struggled to get support through life because they're telling you about it. Their behavior represents that. But this is 2021 December, where he was hollering and screaming. He was mad about the beat situation. He was embarrassed. He was humiliated. And of course, he was trying to blame me. He was trying to blame Rev G. He was talking shit about Rev G's family, lying and saying Rev G was smoking and drinking or doing whatever. Complete and total lies, lying about Rev G's marriage. It was so disgusting, so angry that what he wanted to have happen to us didn't happen. 2022, it was Propane, Joke Lane, Broke Lane, was saying, come grab my link, the 6-hour live. And they were going just bonkers. And of course, the drunken monkey was screaming and hollering on that panel, targeting primarily Rev G and me with more lies, chastising, screaming at the top of his lung at Stargate, attacking a woman. He claims he supports women and was completely going after Stargate because she built a bridge with me and Rev G, screaming at everybody else, I question you if you rock with Rev G and AA. It was completely and totally ridiculous. He was drunk out of his mind. And those who don't even like us, those we don't even rock with, because remember, we're not in the Umar Johnson sector. We were here before the Umar Johnson sector. They were the ones who coined the Umar Johnson sector. We rock with a few people in the Umar Johnson sector. We're not the Umar Johnson sector. It's important to make sure people realize this because there are those in the Umar Johnson sector. The feeling is mutual. We cannot stand them folks. Now, let me leave Rev G out of that cannot stand them folks because he doesn't think like that. I'm saying it for myself and others, not excluding Rev G, although Rev G would not like let them sleep at his house, but he doesn't have a view of I can't stand people. He's just not in the Umar Johnson sector, and he never agrees with what they do in terms of how they treated him and his family. But we don't rock with them. They have the worst things to say about us, but still, most of them wouldn't even go along with this drunken monkey. They cussed his ass out, and they can't even stand us. They can't stand us. And most of them in that Umar Johnson sector ripped his ass to shreds. Now, what does that tell you? He tried to get alignment with them against us, and they wouldn't go for it, although they can't stand our asses. And the feeling is mutual, excluding Rev G, because he does not think and talk like that. I talk like that, and I think like that when it comes to not, quote, standing people. He could not get anybody to go along with him. Now, there are a couple little insignificant losers that nobody even cares about, but they were not on that panel. They were not siding with him. The only idiot that came up there was, what, let me see your handcuffs. And let me tell you this about let me see your handcuffs. Don't ever sell us short when it comes to let me see your handcuffs. She got fired from 2 jobs because we reported her ass. Not 1 job, 2 jobs. Okay, Remix was not on the Christmas Eve panel that was Joke Lane's, Brooke Lane's panel. He came on, I believe it was the next day, and the drunken monkey was still drunk, throwing all kinds of fits, screaming and hollering. Remix was running a live. He was hijacking Remix's live over onto his live. Remix was trying to confront him about why in the hell do you keep mentioning my name? So Remix tries to confront this drunken monkey, and the drunken monkey continues to turn the microphone off. See, it's not some cowardly bullshit. He doesn't have the guts to go over to Remix's channel. Remix goes to his channel, and he keeps cutting the microphone off. So they got into their mutual dust up, and the drunken monkey's crying, "Oh, he's threatening me, he's threatening my life." He was making threats. He said he was going to kick Remix's ass and then file a report that Remix beat up a disabled person. Huh? You're gonna beat up a disabled person. I'm gonna kick your ass. He said he was gonna kick Remix's ass, then file a disabled person's report. And just would not stop screaming and hollering. He was obviously drunk. He couldn't even control himself. How are you going to have a conversation with someone when they're drunk out of their mind? He was talking about your booties and he's talking to dudes, okay? And beating your meat and you can't beat AIDS and what in the hell? What are you trying to tell us? You got something you're trying to get off your chest or something? People were freaking out. Like, what is this dude talking about? Then he got scared because the smoke went over to confront him about the chicken shit copyright strike he did. I think it was earlier in the year or the year before. He was too chicken shit to deal with Smoke about it. So Smoke shows up to deal with it. I already talked to you about that. No, you didn't. You were pissed because Smoke snagged your chat. You have a slave plantation and nobody cared about what was going on over there unless Remix's music was playing. So he went over there to that joke plane, Broke Lane Live to tell everybody he was the king shit of the Umar Johnson sector and everybody just railed on his ass. And he was pissed because Smoke confronted him about the copyright strike. Such a freaking loser, stalker, who tried to find out how he could exact revenge on any and everybody who wouldn't follow his orders to attack me. Who are you to give anybody any freaking orders to come at me? Now, me and Smoke are cool. What are you going to do about that? Me and the Smoke had actual legitimate beef. This dude is just jealous of everybody and starts trouble and gets aggressive for no reason. If people have an actual issue and they work it out, it ain't none of your damn business. But he tries to make it his business. If people work out their issues, he gets pissed. He's angry. He gets drunk, belligerent, abusive, and jealous, and starts to stalk us because we know how to work out conflicts with people who have good intentions. This idiot, this drunkard, this drunken monkey doesn't have a positive intention anywhere in that ratchet, wrecked soul. Always complaining about any and everybody who wants to interact with me. You are jealous of Reb G. You're jealous of Remix. You're jealous of the Smoke. You're jealous of any and everybody who can have a decent, rational conversation, because you can't do a damn thing unless you're infused with liquor that's further destroying your brain. So that was 2022.